Hi there. I'm the surprise parks child, apparently. So, I'm Chris. Anyway, just looking around this room, I see some amazing faces here. Just some old friends. So thank you to all you guys who are here to celebrate Mom's life. Obviously, she touched you either directly or indirectly. And Mom loved every one of you. And it's funny because I say that knowing not every one of you had met my mom. But the fact that you were part of our lives, because Mom loved to live vicariously through her kids, meant that she loved you. So for that, we thank you. You've already learned a lot about Mom. Pastor Dement did such a wonderful job, Deb. In fact, I'm going to rehash some of that stuff, so I apologize. I'm going to try and take it out where I can, but well, I got the microphone now, so you guys are screwed. Anyway, you know what? In a nutshell, who was Mom? Mom was a proud Norwegian. She was an adventurer. She was a philanthropist. Mom loved sharing a drink on her deck with Chuck, Judy, Joe, and Irene, and the other derelicts. This is a name given affection to the neighbors of Mission Bell Lane who got together often and generally imbibed in something. Chuck was classic. Chuck was the guy who would be out on the deck, and all of a sudden we'd hear, we'd hear, "Hey, you, what are you guys doing?" And we'd see a face, and he was the dude from Tool Time or from Home Improvement. He was Mr. Wilson next door, and it was classic. And the next thing you know, they'd be over and hanging out with us. Mom loved doing Sudokus, as Pastor Dement mentioned. She loved the slot machines, and she always won more than her allotted $20. Mom would never go over $20. And it was funny because when she did, I'd hear it the whole way home that she apologized for her gambling problem. True story. And I tell Mom, there's worse problems than having to gamble $20 twice a year, so don't worry about it, you go crazy. Most of all, Mom loved rummy tiles. That was just her thing. Mom was continually learning right up to the point where she left us. And she often joked that God would say about her, "My goodness, she just doesn't get it." She'd then say she was a work in progress and that she was still here learning for a reason. She'd go back to figuring out who she was and how she could contribute more fully to others at that point. Mom was always learning. At this point, I'm going to take a different tact. You've heard enough about Mom. I'm going to share a few things about Mom, but instead I'm going to talk about some of the lessons that I learned from Mom during those last few months. And I'm going to jump right into the meaty stuff. Number one, don't fear talking about death. How's that for jumping right in? The fact is, we're all only on this earth for a brief time. In the past 3 months, in addition to losing our mother, almost a dozen of my friends have lost a parent or a spouse. That's the reality, and by being, connected to social media, we see it more. By being aware how precious our time is on earth, we can maximize that dash, that little point, that little symbol between our birth and our death. That dash defines us by our words, our actions, and what we leave behind. Not what we leave behind physically or financially, but rather what we contribute to this world. I'm reminded of the question, how much money did Malcolm Forbes leave when he died? The answer? All of it. Mom did a lot with her dash, and she left quite a legacy. Don't be afraid to talk about final wishes with your loved ones. Unbeknownst to me, my brother's worked with Mom over the past several years to really learn her final wishes. Instead of being scared, sad, or upset by this, Mom felt freed because her true wishes were made known. This taboo subject isn't so dark when you shine the light on it. Mom took care of all the financial arrangements. She set her service wishes. She decided upon the music to be played. She even provided us with a sample program. She was organized. It was really funny. Even at the end, a care worker came in, and Mom, he started to come in there. She says, "This is my clock. I like numbers. This is my picture frame. Don't mess with it. My table's right here. Don't, it's the way I like it, so don't mess with it." So, Pastor Dement always, he already alerted that Mom's cramming for finals, which was one of the funniest things I've ever heard, when she'd be reading those books and she'd say she was cramming for finals. I love that. She was so secure in her faith that the last couple of weeks, I I've never seen anybody so peaceful and happy. Mom was as happy as I've ever seen her. She even took time to record goodbyes to my friends in the Mercards, to the class, a couple other people. She was just truly at peace. And I'll never forget the evening our family was in the hospital. And we got a unique sense of humor. And no doubt there was some inappropriate story that was told, and we all were laughing so hysterically that even the nurses and the doctors were coming in, and everybody wanted to get in on the action. I mean, it was like Mom at the end. She was belly laughing like a little schoolgirl. It was hilarious. I mean, she was just amazing like that. During that time, Mom took the time to get all of our nurses' names, and on the day she was discharged, we saw firsthand how Mom affected them directly. Dave and I were in the room waiting for Mom to be discharged, and the head nurse, this beautifully compassionate young man, came up to us, had his arm on me, and he had just gotten done hugging Mom and saying goodbye to her. And again, he put his arm around me and he said, "You know what, Chris?" Motioned around. He said, "A lot of folks on this floor are dying, just like your mom." He goes, "But she's living fully every single day." And with that, he teared up. He apologized, and he excused himself. Mom often said in that hospital that she was there for a reason. Especially, she wanted to show that even an terminally ill elderly person had something to contribute if you give them a chance. Number 2, have an advocate for your loved ones. We often place doctors on a pedestal. We accept decisions without question. During December, Mom had been in the emergency room or admitted to the hospital 4 separate times with the same symptoms, each time being released before she was ready. We watched Mom rapidly decline in December, and in January, I was convinced her time was limited. I called Brother Dave, said, I think you may want to come down here, and he dropped everything, came down. Thank you. Dave took on the role of Mom's advocate at that point. Given his medical background, he could speak to Mom's providers in a way that we couldn't. Upon seeing her decline, Dave booked an appointment with her doctor the next day. The doctor, like the others, was going to go to release Mom. Dave pleaded with him to do the right thing, saying, "If this is your mother, would you treat her this way?" The doctor shook his head. He said no, and reluctantly he admitted Mom into the hospital. Thanks to the folks at Kaiser after that point, Mom was so tuned up over the next several days. She said she felt better than she did when she was 25 years old. She even told me she was going to start teaching again. She was going to reach out to Debbie Flores because she wanted to go ahead and make sure she taught after her 90th birthday. What a huge turnaround. And around this time, sadly, a routine chest CAT scan to assess a persistent cough was done. And that CT overlapped the abdomen. And the doctor saw something they didn't like and realized Mom had cancer that had metastasized to her spine and bones. Suddenly we knew that this mother who had been teaching college just a month earlier, it was actually until November she was teaching, a cancer that keeps most people bedridden, and Mom's teaching college. Yet the worst she'd say was, "I'm a little tired today, but tomorrow's going to be a lot better." That was Mom. She was truly a badass. This is a term Dave coined. It was funny because even in the hospital, Mom said, "Well, gosh, when I was growing up, that was a bad term, and I'm having trouble, but I guess you guys think that's a really good thing, so I guess I am a badass." So, Mom was always trying to learn and stay on the cutting edge of young knowledge. Having Mom tuned up gave us that week to say everything we needed to say, and for her to do the same. I can't thank Dave enough for doing that, and Kaiser. That was truly a gift. Over those 2 weeks Mom was in the hospital, we continually had to fight against the machine that knew Mom wouldn't last long. Every day they wanted her out so they could have her bed for another person. We weren't going to let it happen. It's a sad reality of life that doctors have 15 minutes to diagnose and put somebody in a box, either with some medicine or some care instructions. Oftentimes it's the elderly that are dismissed too readily. It's thought they've already contributed enough and they've led a long life, and it was time for somebody else. Mom taught those hospital workers she still had things to do and teach on this earth right up to her last day. As a family, we fought and we won. Mom was released when she was ready, and when we were ready to receive her at the home she loved, where she wanted to be, and where she could go in peace. Doctors are given an impossible task. They need to maintain health and keep folks alive, yet they've got to minimize costs and get people out the door as soon as possible. Being judge and jury is a tough base to be, so don't be afraid to question authority if what you see is wrong. Number 3, focus on the quantity. Focus on the quality, not the quantity. As I look back now, it's those few special times that really stick out. It's not being there all the time. It's about maximizing the time you have. As mentioned, Mom raised us with a relentless spirit of adventure, probably attributed to her Norwegian roots. If there was a high tide, again, things Christian mentioned, lightning storm, meteor shower, presidents coming to town, foreign dignitaries, we were out of school and we were there. That Mom believed in experiences. And as he said, we'd share, we just call each other up, hey, did you see the sunset? Hey, check this out. So for Mom's 80th birthday, I took her to Yosemite. And we went to the Eulogy Hotel and booked 4 nights there. It's a truly magical experience. You're in this rustic, beautiful location surrounded by all the amenities you want. I mean, it's hard to describe what the place is like. So we drove all around. We saw everything the valley had to offer. We enjoyed some wine together, enjoyed the stars, and just really enjoyed each other's company. On the night of her birthday, I'd already talked to the concierge. We booked dinner at the hotel. Unbeknownst to me, he made even more special arrangements. And when we walked in the door, they ushered us straight back. They welcomed Mom, wished her happy 80th birthday, walked straight down the hallway, all the way to the last table. The last table, they seated her around, facing back the direction we came. And they gave her a chair, and they said, welcome to the Queen's chair. And Mom laughed, thinking, okay, they're just being nice. And they said, no, this is literally the Queen's chair. When Queen Elizabeth came to visit, she sat in this exact chair, at this exact table, and with this exact view. You were the Queen. And Mom felt so happy at that point. She was just beaming. In fact, it's one of the pictures that will be shown on the slideshow here in a few minutes. It's a picture of her all dressed up, eating her birthday dessert at the wine. True to Mom's adventurous roots, which all my friends know were passed on to me in a bad way. We were leaving Yosemite a day or 2 later, and we were heading back home. And I said, we're on the drive. I said, hey, I don't have to go to work for 2 days. What do you got going on? She goes, well, let me check my social calendar. I'm good. She said, what do you have in mind? I said, let's go drive the coast. She was great. So we drove down, we stayed in Monterey, we drove through Pebble Beach, we hit Big Sur, and we saw all the beauty that California has to offer. Mom was always up for the great adventure right up to the very end. Number 4, live with purpose. If you're planning for a year, sow rice. If you're planning for a decade, plant trees. If you're planning for a lifetime, educate people. Mom was funny. If you asked what she wanted, she couldn't tell you. If you asked Mom what she was proud of in her life, she couldn't tell you. But if you brought up her Rediscover San Diego class, she would beam and she'd gush and she'd go on and on and on about it. True to form, she'd always give the credit to my father, who started the class. But truth be told, Dad was a teacher who imparted knowledge. Mom was somebody that, with the help of my sister, took it and made it a family experience. People shared hugs, people shared laughs, people became a part of each other's lives. And that's testified by, almost 50 people from the class being here today. So thank you for that. And just know you guys meant the world to her. They made sure to see culturally significant place in San Diego. And thanks to the efforts of Pat Mostello and Debbie Flores over here, thank you very much. Mom and Dad's legacy is secure as this class is growing by leaps and bounds. Christian mentioned Mom's resume, 65 years of teaching. One can only guess how many lives she touched over that time. Number 5, notice and acknowledge the good and the gifts in others. Our parents were really proud of us, sometimes to our embarrassment, especially Dad. He could turn any conversation to us pretty quickly. Mom would continue to compliment us on our looks, our physique, our hair, whatever it was. Mom noticed a lot, and she loved to make others feel good. Mom was one of those few that still took time to write cards. These are just a few of the cards that I received from Mom over the last few years. I'm going to take time to read just a little part of one of them, just give you an idea of what Mom was about. It said, Dear Chris, I have so many things to thank you for. I enjoyed our trip to Borrego Springs. This was just in April of last year, less than a year ago. She wanted to see the wildflowers, so we went out for a drive to see them out there. Again, she said, I enjoyed our trip to Borrego Springs. The deer, the turkeys, the sculptures, the yellow flowers and the trees. Time spent together. Thank you. The night before my 89th birthday, the symphony, front row seating, glass of wine in the bar, my birthday with the family here, fun, fun, fun. Thank you. Every day I look around my home and mentally thank you all for making the interior and exterior look so great. The deck, the blinds, the pool table, the furniture, the rug, the lights, the heater. Thank you. And she went on and on. But that was Mom. That's what made her so very special, was the fact that she'd acknowledge those things and take that time. I often acknowledge Mom for her gifts, yet I notice so much more after her passing. For instance, the effort she always put into her appearance, even when her body hurt, and it hurt just to get dressed. The clothing accessories she'd wear fun pins, she'd wear brooches, she'd wear scarves, she'd always match. How organized her room was kept, and how she was always there for us kids if needed. Even at 89, Mom was still a nurturing, mothering mother. It's been said over and over that you never know what you have until it's gone. You know why? Because it's true. Take the time to notice the good in your loved ones and let them know you appreciate them. Someday you're going to be glad you did. Finally, number 6, it feels so much better to be focused on the good. One of the great human needs is the need for love and connection. It's something we all share unequivocally, both to ourselves and others. Ironically, this need can be met in 2 very different ways. One can achieve love and connection by picking up the phone, calling a friend, and just going to dinner, talking, laughing, and just sharing some great times. Another person can meet that need by talking about all the issues in their life, how tough things are, how miserable they are, how much they hurt, or what their latest injury is. It's very prevalent in social media today, yet it brings others closer in sympathy, and that need for love and connection is met. 2 very different techniques, one positive, one possibly negative, both equally effective. To be honest with you, this past year has been the toughest of my life. For the first time in my life, being positive has been a challenge. After Mom passed, I checked out for several days. Friends would call, and I appreciated the calls, but I wouldn't answer. I knew that if I picked up the phone, I'd lose it. And being a man, vulnerability is tough for me. Talking with my brother Dan after Mom's passing really helped me gain perspective. I've been truly blessed by some amazing siblings, each with their own gifts. And I've always looked up to Brother Dan, and every time I have the pleasure of talking to him, I gain more and more respect for the man he is. Dan's words were simple. He mentioned how lucky we were that Mom was 100% with us and 100% solid right up to the time she passed away, and what a long, fruitful life she had. His words hit their target. Right then and there, I realized I felt so much better to share the good of Mom's life rather than dwell on the fact that she was gone. I was faced with 2 choices: drag others down to my level of sorrow, or talk about the good that Mom did, the life she led, and celebrate her life. I chose the latter, began answering calls, and it felt so much better. This concept of choice brings me to a story I heard years ago that stuck with me. 2 twin boys, both raised by an alcoholic, abusive father, who committed all sorts of crimes before ending up in jail. One son followed in his father's footsteps, ended up becoming an alcoholic, and was in and out of jail through his life. When an interview asked him, "How did you turn out this way?" he said, "Well, with the way my father was and how he led his life, how else could I turn out?" The second twin went on to get married, have a family, led a productive life, and became a model citizen. When the same interview asked him how he turned out this way, he said, "Well, with who my father was and how he led his life, how else could I turn out?" Any event can be viewed as good or bad, and how that event manifests itself in your life depends on what your perspective is. Mom always saw the good, even when she didn't feel like it. She always saw the good. What do you choose to focus on? Finally, guys, and I appreciate you bearing with me, I'm going to share a quick, funny story about Mom that I think you're going to enjoy. For those of you who don't know, Mom had a unique talent for ridiculously butchering names. My friends, the Mercarts, she thought they were the Burcarts for, 20 years. It's like, no, Mom, it's the Mercarts. Anyway, at the same time, she's deeply religious, very reserved in her ways. So imagine my surprise when one day, many years ago, I go by the house and she's watching the Jodi Arias trial on CNN. She asked if I've been watching it. I told her I hadn't. She says, you should, because it's like an adult education class and I'm learning all sorts of cool, racy new terms. Anybody that knows Mom can appreciate this story. Slightly uncomfortable and afraid of where this conversation was going, I asked, like what? Mom says, well, they were apparently into all sorts of kinky stuff, like sumo karma. Sumo karma, I thought. Slightly confused, I started picturing large dudes in tiny little outfits, squaring up, wrestling, and I'm trying to make the karmic connection of it, I'm not getting it. And then suddenly I realized Mom was trying to say Kama Sutra, but in Mom speak, sumo karma is what came out. Stories like this and the lessons that Mom taught are what make her one of a kind and why she's truly going to be missed. So thank you for listening and thank you for being a part of our lives.